Hello YouTube and welcome to episodes 10 and 11 in the Serial Experiments Lain reaction series. 2 more episodes today, please look forward to them. Going to discover some more mysteries and get even more confused in these 2 episodes, I would imagine. So, looking forward to it today. Only bit of housekeeping is the same bit of housekeeping for every series on the channel this week, which is next week I'm on holiday, don't expect videos, that kind of thing. I was planning a little fun thing, but I'm probably going to run out of time. I'll have to keep that little fun thing in the tuck for later then. Yeah, I think it's a good idea, we'll see. Either way, onto the YouTube comments. We have 4 YouTube comments today, so going through them here. First we have Harry. Harry's talking about a more laid-back / slice-of-life show to watch after this, which is something I mentioned last week, I believe. Girls' Last Tour. Girls' Last Tour is something I haven't watched and should be on my radar because it is kind of slice-of-lifey / a little bit philosophical, you know what I mean? So it's got something to say while simultaneously being slice of life, so I think it's probably a pretty good fit. It's going to be on the next poll, I would imagine. It's something that's been on my list for a while, just kind of real somber tone, so not exactly happy-go-lucky, but still probably lots of stuff to talk about, I think. Lots of little world-building things, I would imagine. So yeah, it'll be on the list, and I'll probably be rooting for it, so we'll see. Next comment here by Boob Trap Yeti. Great name there. The alien is always a laugh. Frankly hilarious scene, honestly. And a small detail, we've heard this woman complaining about a small child in a green and red sweater twice. Actually, that is true. That is something that I have seen twice now. Think about it. It's the alien if you didn't get it, by the way. Next little point here is kind of the prophecy event stuff is more like cause and effect, which is probably something that I've been getting as well. Bit of casual determinism, if we want to get philosophical, which we also get here with the multiple lanes. You could loosely correlate them to id, ego, superego, that kind of Freudian look at psychology, which I'm not really that versed in, but sure, there are certainly 3 lanes. Yeah, again, I can't tell you which one's which. Isn't id angry? I think id's angry. Ego maybe like the ego one, but then what is super ego? Anyway, it's not really my bag. And then a spoiler, not really, about how much of the lore is real. So all the lore up to the Schumann resonances is real, and then the Masami stuff isn't real. So the stuff where it turns into anime and not like real people pictures is real. So everything up to that is real. Everything after it's animated is not real in fiction in the show, which is cool. That's something I didn't know about. So that's a nice little bit of trivia for me as well. Next comment here by G Bird. Watching this with you, so when I saw the word aliens, I was kind of confused. Watching the episode, I was like, "Oh, okay, conspiracy stuff." Then the little guy showed up, and we both burst into laughter. That's what we want. That's the content. Also, I didn't know people watch things for the first time with me. I'm not going to say that I would do the same, but I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope it's enriching your experience. I don't know. And then probably the most obvious comment here, something that I really missed last week, and I don't know if it's a spoiler, but it's probably something that I've been thinking about anyway. The other guy in that picture, put it up here, looks an awful lot like Lain's dad, kind of implying that he's a scientist. Maybe there's some kind of serial experiment going on with Lain that we need to dive into and have a look at. Maybe Lain isn't what she seems. Maybe Lain doesn't have real memories. Maybe Lain being introduced by some people to maybe the boss's family, something like that, is something we need to look into in this episode. We've certainly got this airy Masami guy that's nearby that has like weird stuff down his face. So we're gonna see where that goes. Yeah, I think that's what we're diving into. Lain's origins, a bit of the curtain pulled back, I think. So last week's episode is a weird one to recap, because there's some stuff that happened, there was some reveals, but it was more characterized by an editing choice where we're doing like literally a lore dump, like literally, and juxtaposing that with some scenes of Lain coming to terms with what she learned at the end of episode 8? Yeah, episode 8. So, sense of self, coming to terms with some stuff. There's some reveals about the Knights and what Siberia is and how much that, I think it's tarot had to do with it and that kind of thing. How do the Knights control people? All this kind of stuff, right? The most concrete plot detail is the reveal that Eri is alive. Eri? Masami's alive, and he's going to have a chat with Lain now, you would think. It almost seemed like he was going to battle, but that's obviously incorrect, so, like, I don't know. Seemingly this guy's been, like, in, like, hiding or something, because his hair's really long, too. So, He doesn't really get out much, kind of like me. So as always, we have the ideas segment here as well. So I've talked about the editing style, very harsh cuts. What is it trying to say? What are we watching? You know what I mean? Because that isn't Lain POV at all. The whole show hasn't been, now that I'm thinking about it. It's more just been like a sequence of events telling the story, something very outside of the show's universe. So who are we in the show? If that makes any sense. Or is that a little bit stupid, a little bit of a stupid question? Of course, we're the audience. You know what I mean? So the audience needs to know some stuff, and we're just going to tell them that by like literally like switching channels to some lore. I don't know. There's something in that, I think. There's something they're trying to say. And there was a lot of last week about a connected network. There was kind of the Schumann resonance and using that to, you know, there's some kind of effect on all human brains and there's some kind of waveform. Trying to create a universal one truth, a new baseline for the world, something that is always considered true by just like a new layer of being. Like that's how powerful we're talking here. That's what we're trying to achieve. And I guess all the documentary stuff last week also added to the Wide having some background in science, but also seemingly being somewhat magical. Even introducing somebody that had some experience in studying cults was involved as well. I don't quite remember the details, but that's definitely something to watch as well, especially when we're considering religion as a major theme in the show. How many lanes are there? Is there only 3? Is it actually this Freudian look that we've been talking about? Or is it a little bit more freeform? How is Lain going to be proliferated? Is this something that is good or bad? I don't know. There's a lot of Lain. Everybody knows Lain. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Lain everywhere. We'll see where we're going. I don't know. And yeah, I've simply just got here Masami at the end. What's his deal? What does he want out of Lain? Is he come to end the experiment? Is it going to turn into an action show where we're evading this guy? I don't know. He looked kind of Resident Evil-y to me, so he gives you like boss battle vibes. I don't know why. Or is he just going to lore dump some more? Are we going to learn more about Lain and what the experiment was? And, you know, the title of the show, it's going to come to fruition, kind of. I guess that's a prediction. I don't have many more, because I never do with Lain, so I guess we're just going to jump into the episode proper, but not before my shill stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I can do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back. And the Discord, join the Discord. Suggest new Lain show replacements on the Discord, because the Lain people should be the ones picking the Lain replacement. That would make sense to me. And yeah, just join. It's a fun place to talk. You can, you know, chat at me whenever you want, basically. I don't know if that's something you want to do. Either way, jumping into episode 10 of his Serial Experiments Lain right now. Rightio, got episode 10 of Lain up here ready to go. Let me pop that up on screen there. Probably at 23 minutes and 54 seconds on this one. I was right. And yeah, just going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Picture in picture in the description below and all that kind of jazz. Rightio? 3, 2, 1, go. It's present day and present time. I hope I clicked 10. I think I did. I mean, I'm not going to know for another like minute and a half, so... Oh, that was a cool shot. I hadn't noticed that one before. Just kind of the TV on the angle there. Oh, no, I'm just kind of getting into the mood. I've been a little bit quiet. I kind of didn't eat anything, but I had a coffee, so we'll see how I go. I might crash here in a little bit, because I uploaded Monogatari very late last night, and then I slept most of the morning, and now it's 20 past midday. So we're gonna see how we go from here. No other commitments today, so should be able to go all the way through. Should be good. What's going on, Lain? Some kind of simulation? Some kind of experiment? Well, it is your entire sense of self being thrown into question right now. Oh, that's different. That's way harsher. Yeah. It's almost like a race car. And no dialogue? Okay. Very interesting. Okay, I love that as a change. What's the episode title? Love. Kind of love. Romantic. Familial. Oh, it's even more faded now, too. Okay. What else? Oh, yeah, she did say that. Right. Wait, are you God? You're Masami, though. Interesting. Also, hang on a second. I'll just do this as well. Just because I'm worried the fan will be picked up on the camera. Not the camera, the mic. Ooh, sit up straight again. Yeah, okay. That's a revelation once I heard him talk. That's definitely changes a lot of things. Hello, God. But you just said that. Unless there's multiple yous as well. Wait, has he been possessed? What is happening? And you just move on? How do you know Chisa? I don't need to stay here. Who is talking to who? What's the information about? Okay. Okay. Kami. Oh. Atheist? Well, you were kind of up in the air before. Hmm. Okay, so Lain is part of the Knights. Kind of above the Knights. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Oh, change. Who was talking to who? It's all very weird. And then this is a very similar shot to episode 1. What's the power doing? Are we back at school? I didn't think it would come back here. Are you still being ostracized? Yeah, kind of left out. Kind of left out for sure. Ooh, you have no place here. You have no physical presence. My previous identity, was it a lie? Yeah, no acknowledgement at all. I already am. You should bow. What are you doing? What, is this some kind of test? Do you get one too, Lain? Nah, she's looking straight through you. You're not here. My previous perception has been shattered. But yeah, equally heartbreaking, of course. Not based on current evidence, you're not. Oh, it was just information you learned, probably. Hmm. Where does love come into it? Oh. Hello, evil Alice. Oh, no, okay. You're hallucinating, Lain. Like, pretty badly. I love the grayed out, too. Oh, the music's great. I was gonna say this could use some, like, Kensuke Uchiwa shit. The shadows, that's like a whole can of worms. I can't even talk to that very much. Almost looks like Nebula. Or even fireworks if you wanted to lean that way. Yeah. That's your house. Such a simple track, I love it. This is depressing. Yeah, it's all falling apart for Lain. Does that say KOTOR? Probably motor. Okay. There's been a lot of stuff with the fridge. With like the barley tea and stuff. Ooh, long gone. But there's still food in the fridge. This is mirroring that scene where she goes home after Siberia. Uh, okay. Whose room's that? Is that Mika's? Whoa. That's trippy as. I love this scene, by the way. This is way more my kind of filmmaking. It's little to no dialogue. Miss Lain. Lain-san. Okay. Well, there's the love. Okay. Alright. Not very personal. Lain looks weird there. You're never alone. Yeah. You're the least alone person in the universe. Yeah. You were. Interesting. Classic. Very simple shot to do as well. I don't know why more people don't do it. Oh, God. The color of this episode is kind of insane. Okay, back at a crossroads, 3 different intersections. Oh, God, that's like some Blade Runner shit. Do you want to do anything? A world where you're perhaps God? Well, who is the fake and who is the real? Well, yeah. That's what they're invoking. Oh, from way back in the day? I thought it was those random people. Yeah, so we need to find out who the worshippers are. I thought we knew. Again, the colors this episode, by the way. Whoa. This is all really cool looking. This came in the 90s, by the way. Okay, we're back at Siberia. No one's here. Yeah, no one's here. She's so obvious. That kid looks older than Taro. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the knights are being unveiled. Net news is great as well. Someone tell Alex Jones. Yep, you've been punked. Oh God, look, this is a great shot as well. I gotta go. Oh, that's funny. We gotcha. It's my boy Carl. Whoa, what is the juice? What are you doing? Is it just like a sedative? I guess. The weather in this episode too. Okay, here's this lady again. And I think our mate's been like drugged and taken away. Oh, or just killed? Yeah, he's just been killed. Okay, we're gonna kill all the knights. I guess that doesn't give God any power if he doesn't have any worshippers. Well, Mum got killed too. Sucks to be that kid. Sucks to be that kid. Oh my God. Who the fuck is Rudolph? Okay, they're like real people. Suicides. Epstein? Alright, so it's all out in the open, whatever the open is. So now does God have any power? Because he isn't being researched. Or he. Or she. It's very unclear. Seems like you're in chains. We're getting very trippy, surrealist right now as well. I guess this is a bit more concrete. This is something that would happen. That guy's tall. Something at the protocol, probably. Well, you seemingly worked for Tejibana. It needs to be the same? Interesting. I honestly, that might be good for her. Whatever good is. Okay, how can you be sure? Yeah, they want all the power. Probably some kind of elites in the real world, right? Oh god, they're Redditors. What do you reckon, Lain? Got any thoughts? Neither have I. There was some implication that she was God, but I don't know if that's real. I don't know who's speaking to who in that first scene. Bad touch. Well, there's a love theme again, anyway. He most certainly is. This guy's like laughing at him. You're a simp. But what was any of that? Why did we do that? How is this furthering the plot? Must be close to the end, too. Oh, love that effect. Very simple, too. Okay, so this guy's definitely taken the form of God. Haven't lost all of the people. Who is the one believer? Yeah, thought so too. The wind is such a great touch to this scene. A real finality. Yeah, we've been implying this. Homunculus. Nah, I'm increasingly thinking it's true. Yeah, but if it was real to the you that exists right now, then what does it matter? It's all very Blade Runner, actually. God loves you. Bad touch. It's all up to interpretation. Yeah, based. Based! Kind of. We'll wait to see the consequences before I go making assertions like that. Oh, it's all coming crashing down! What are we going to do for like another hour of screen time? This feels so final. To be continued. Yeah, thought so. All right, still in denial a little bit, or less denial, more defiance, maybe. An interesting one to be sure. Definitely some plot forwarding there, a little bit more than last episode. All very confusing, this idea of God and believers and researchers. And okay, so whoever God is has overtaken Masami and is presenting himself as such. I'm pretty sure it's Masami. You could see it in the eyes, right? That's kind of what I speculated last week. Gods need worshippers to make them legitimized. The knights were the worshippers. Lain wants all this to end, right? So she asks for the names of all the knights and then just reveals it. And then they all get killed by Tachibana. Or I think they're hired by Tachibana, these guys. They're associates. Some kind of secret service. And Tachibana kind of exists to perpetuate some kind of status quo. Like the real world being reflected on the internet. Kind of the way we see the internet now, and less powerful than it is perceived in the Lane's universe as the Wired. Because the internet itself, it kind of just reflects the real world in a lot of ways. So they want something like that to exist, and then probably to make money off of it and that kind of thing, right? And they don't buy into any of this new god, new kind of status quo stuff. But we'll see, I don't know. Radio jumping into a little bit of analysis on that episode of Lain. So in a way, that episode kind of confirmed a lot of thoughts that I had about the show up till now. Kind of, again, they've teased this Lain projecting the real Lain. The real Lain's the fake Lain, that kind of thing. So Lain of the Wired is the first Lain, of course, and the famous one, and the one that does all these different things. And instead, we're seeing this perception of what Lain should be in the real world, if she was normal, right? This god guy seems a little bit skeevy, so we're going to keep an eye on it. The Tachibana people, they seem really powerful and definitely have a certain want. I don't think we're going the Tachibana route to kind of end things in the show with this 7th protocol. I think we're going to make some changes. The knights are dead. The knights, no longer we have to worry about those. They just got destroyed. And yeah, a lot of the episode is just kind of Lain in disbelief as to what is happening. I think it's executed expertly well. There's a certain kind of musical track that they use while she's walking around her empty house on the way back from school, being ignored by everybody, that I just think is killer. One of the best moments in the show for me, for sure. Kind of, this is my type of filmmaking, for sure. Again, I said that during the reaction, but yeah, really impressive stuff. You could do a lot of color analysis on this episode as well. There are moments of sharp, bright colors that are cut through this kind of grayscale over the rest of the episode. And yeah, kind of exploring this idea of love. I don't think it's implied to be romantic, any of it, even though they're trying, but I don't think it is. It's more of a worshipping love / parental love / protective love. Yeah, we'll say. I don't think it's sexual. At least I hope it's not. You love God, God loves you. All this kind of stuff. And yeah, I guess I see where we go from here. Lain is the only one still giving this God some semblance of power. But then in the end, she still denies the advance right there at the end, which is love me. No, pushes him away, breaks down the well-established power line idea. I think Lain realizes her own power, and we're going to see how she chooses to use it. Either way, I've obviously got the episode up here. Just skipped to after the opening now, and we're just going to keep playing, because a very interesting thing happens right after the opening, I thought. So, this is our first big difference. It's the breaking down of the establishment we have in the rest of the show so far. So it's the same shots, but we've got this really, really harsh tinny noise that we hear. So a lot of it has been tinny in the past, but this is turning the dial up to 11, right? The distortion. This that resembled some kind of real scene in the past is now nothing but artifice. I think that's a cool touch, right? It's just merely obligation, and we're just playing it out. The other big difference is we don't get any dialogue over these opening shots, which we have done in the past. Normally something about or pertaining to the themes of the episode. Sometimes it's even talking fourth wall stuff, where it's talking directly to the watcher. And we're up to layer 10, love, and I've gone into that idea a little bit. Probably not thoroughly explored as I may have thought. Again, very broad idea. But they do bring it up a number of times in the episode for it to be worthy of an episode title, I believe. More and more so, kind of mirroring that same tinny audio quality, we have this image of the power lines that we often see, right? Completely blurry. Not visible, obfuscated. The truth that we may have thought was the truth in the past is now blurry and faded and all these other kind of words, right? If we're talking Lain's POV, what she perceived as real in the past may not be. So I think there's some weird stuff with the different lanes going on here, right? One of the lanes is definitely playing by the book, which is I love God, I love knights, I am with knights, I do all that kind of stuff. But then we see her break out of that at the end of this scene. So I think we take this scene here with a grain of salt and what is said in it with a grain of salt. So we hear this guy's voice, which is Eri Masami's body, that has seemingly been overtaken by God. So Eri Masami, not God, even though he created the Wired as we know it, I believe, or the protocol. I think that was the implication from the last episode. So I thought, hey, maybe he just put himself in there, right? But no, it's kind of like a husk being filled. Big evil AI vibes coming off this guy for sure. You're God, yes, I am God. And yeah, to this scene, very slow, deliberate pace, kind of the suspenseful music playing as well. And then, okay, all right, I don't understand this. This is where it gets a little bit confusing, kind of implying that there are two different Masamis, or he's letting the real Masami talk right now, or something like that, right? Why are you God? I don't understand. You just said that you were God. So yeah, he's talking to himself, kind of. It's some kind of possession thing going on, I think, because he's not talking to Lain, which was my confusion, I think. Yeah, but then God is now talking through Lain. I realized I had no need for a body. Or is this the original Lain talking? I really don't know. It's cerebral. It's it's surrealist. It's hard to understand on a first grasp, especially not knowing how it ends. We're bringing forward this kind of suicide idea again with Chisa. To die is merely to abandon the flesh. We move on to something else. There's no death as we know it. It doesn't end there. There's some form of afterlife, which is definitely a very godlike idea. Yeah, even directly invoking Chisa here. I don't need to stay here. Well, this was a more quaint time, wasn't it? Way back in the day. Lain says, I caused the protocol that governed the world to change. So is that Lain or God? But a protocol is just an agreement. Yes, I incorporated code that operates on a higher phase. And there's compressed information in said code, in said protocol, that is human memories, Lain's memories. Why are they there? And then it all gets very trippy, because is it Lain? Is it Masami? Because the thoughts, the history, memories, and emotions of a man named Masami. Yeah, okay, alright. Let's get Lain out of the head. It's not Lain. This is God talking through Lain, which is also very interesting, but I gotta remember that, okay, so no Lain memories in the code. It's Masami's stuff. It's God's stuff. It's all that. It's all very, again, confusing. Then we bring up the idea of people worshipping God, giving the God power. It's so confusing, because we start the scene and God has inhabited Masami, but now we're switching it over. Masami has seemingly gained his senses again, and God is speaking through Lain. We bring up the idea of knights as researchers, and this kind of figment of Masami disappears. And then that music stops, cuts away, and the kind of regaining of senses. You no longer need a body, Lain. That's a lie. That's a lie. As we see her body being overtaken by a god during the scene as well. And then, of course, we were talking about Chisa early in the episode. This is a very similar shot to episode 1 with Chisa. So, a little bit of a connection there. Alright, and here starts the tragedy. I'm not going to go over in great detail, because I talked about it a lot during the actual scene because of its pacing. It allowed for that. This is basically what we have going on. So Lain is without desk, without body, without physical form, without existence, without acknowledgement from her peers. Everything that she has known up till now has been a lie. This is not the real Lain. What we have been seeing is a ruse. This is all the kind of ideas we're trying to get across here, and it is done masterfully. Loved it. Thought this was one of the best scenes in the show so far. Downright heartbreaking, visually stunning, so well put together. genuinely creepy. Cannot praise it enough. One of the most impressive things I've seen in a long while. Thought it was really, really good. Like, no semblance of belonging here. Told to stand, she's already standing. Told to bow, doesn't bow. Like, no conformity to the rest of the class. No acknowledgement even from the class. Continuing to assert to herself, this kind of meeker, quieter Lain, I'm real. I'm real. That'll never stop being heartbreaking. It won't. It's very, very good. I like this line too. I always tried to keep something like this from happening. Like, deep down, she was probably aware that something like this may happen, but she was preventing it from occurring. Maybe that's why she was so separate from class, to stop such a thing happening. Maybe I'm grasping at straws there, but there seemingly is some casual admittance that you always knew what was going on as well. Then we have Evil Alice. You're not needed in the real world. Again, we're, grayscale, very different dead eyes. Obviously not actually Alice talking, because Alice has always been our beacon of hope, until the betrayal, of course. If the show is even in some kind of chronological order, it's really hard to grasp at some points. You were not needed in the real world. Clearly, like a manifestation of self-doubt, or even maybe another god-like apparition talking to her. I'm pretty sure manifestation of inner doubts. And then the music starts, and it's just goddamn beautiful. Yeah, one of the standout tracks for me. This wouldn't be out of place in A Silent Voice, in Boogie Pop Phantom, in any number of other Kensuke Ushio things. Liz and the Bluebird. Fantastic track. Love it. If anybody could clue me into whatever this kind of music is too, I guess just atmospheric, slow piano, sad stuff, I absolutely froth it. So, feed me more. Looking at the shadow again, always been very important, as she basically leaves school. She's not needed there. Way deeper reds and purples. Has this always been reflecting mood, maybe? Because this would make sense. And we got kind of like a brighter white light when she's a little more calm, maybe. I don't know. You could do a whole analysis on the shadows here and be talking for days, I think. Tadaima, as she walks in as well, like looking for some level of communication back, some affirmation that she is actually real, and what she has been living up till now hasn't been a lie. Not only has, what she's been living not been real, again, now these beds make a lot of sense. Let's talk about these beds as well. Either way, the passage of time is strange as well. There was food in the fridge, seemingly, but the plants are all dead in the rooms, almost like it's been abandoned, always has been abandoned, always maybe a figment. But the two beds, the parents sleeping in separate beds, is because they were never parents at all. There was no actual real love there, no real connection, right? Nothing that would make Lain's existence as a child of these two seem real. No wonder the mother's always been so detached. Why would she be attached? It's not her child, like at all. I don't know what this room is. Is this implied to be Lain's room, Mika's room? Lain's room has changed so many times it's hard to keep count. Cool, we had a weird filter over Lain here into... This is kind of like a look into what Mika was going through, right? Through almost this psychedelic lens. Yeah, lost her goddamn mind. Okay, pretty sure it's Mika's room, and Mika is no longer here. Yeah, lost her goddamn mind. She goes to start to clean up the room, and the father walks in. Or I shouldn't say the father anymore, should I? This is goodbye, Miss Lain. We are ending this experiment. So our working relationship is done. You're now free to become anything you want. No, actually, you were free all along. These constraints never actually existed. It was something that you just thought into yourself. I wasn't given permission to say goodbye, but I loved you. So he made a special effort to come out here and make sure that, it's all okay. That they're leaving on good terms, I guess. And again, the implication that this guy is one of the scientists involved would make sense. What kind of love is it? For a parental love? You bought into the lie a little bit as well, maybe? No, actually, he says, it's not that I liked playing house. Maybe I just envied being a being like you. Envying, again, there's a lot of Lain God stuff as well. Is this less of a parental love and more of like a worship? Lots of people think about Lain like that now that I'm thinking about it. Food for thought. Food for thought. Lain runs out of the room. Wait, don't leave me alone. Lain, you were never alone. If you connect to the wired, everyone will welcome you. Like a god. So again, Lane's still a little bit in denial here, standing at a three-way crossroad. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And we're almost like in. I said invoked Blade Runner a lot. This kind of like circuit sky, post-apocalyptic hellscape type energy. Do you want anything, Lain? This is your world. Who are the knights? They're the ones that made the fake me, right? They're the ones that started all this nonsense, all this kind of revelation of what has actually gone on, and ruined the kind of quaint life that I had. So if I take out the knights, maybe everything can go back to normal. There's some interesting stuff about the history here. So knights, obviously, I think I've talked about this in the past, invoking kind of Knights Templar, kind of secret society vibe there. And now we get the revelation that there's maybe been this invisible human network that these Knights Templar have been using for way longer than the Wired has even existed. Who are the knights? The Wired God is only a god because he has worshippers. Capitalization on he too is interesting. So if I take out the worshippers, then he will no longer have power. Again, that's basically what we're doing in this next scene. And a very trippy look as she gathers this information and spreads it. Kind of like how she gathered said information about Alice and spread it as well. Doesn't seem conscious in the spreading as well. We'll use tarot as the framing device for finding out this information, as tarot continually looks at his little device here and sees all of these people that we know were in the Knights being revealed, basically. Yeah, a Knights member list has been spread, basically. And this guy is shitting himself, because he knows what this means. He knows that he was being targeted, and he was goddamn right. My boy Carl catches up with him and puts him to rest. Kind of ingests him with his weird goo. I'm guessing this is just some kind of like death juice. I don't know. Almost horror movie-esque in the editing here, as we see this lady from previous in the show when we were talking to Old Mate in the building, discovering his dead corpse. Basically, he's been deadened. Same thing has happened to this guy. I don't know about the torch in the mouth. That's a little bit weird, but yeah, this kind of neat guy with the potato chips and the big old belly, he's gone to rest as well. The most tragic one, of course, is using this video game as the metaphor. As he dies in the video game, his mother dies in real life too, somehow. Kind of, okay, that's coffee. I don't know how she got killed, but I thought that was blood, so I thought that was like really, really bad for the kid. Well, it still is bad. Like, he's got no mom. The mom was shady, like, but still, I don't know. Hopefully the dad's okay. We see a couple of different names here as well on the knights list. They're specifically mentioned. I thought if I go back here slightly, I thought that kind of looked like Tarot, but Tarot was implied to just be working for the knights and not actually one of the knights. Or maybe Tarot's dead. Maybe they killed Tarot. I don't know. And of course, just like the real world, a series of suicides occurred all over the world today. Suicides. They were suicide. And of course they all suicided at the same time. Nothing like this has ever happened in the real world, actually, now that I think about it. Nothing. There's seemingly lots and lots and lots of different knights, so it wasn't just those three people. That was an incorrect assumption from before. It's a really grainy frame as well of Lain. As we kind of transport back to Lain, this is what she's been doing the rest of the time. Just kind of connected, seeing the aftermath. Eyes glazed over, more as like a conduit than anything else. Lain is finally visited by Carl and the other guy. And yes, killing all of these knights, these worshippers of God in the Wired, clears our path, basically. I think this is from Tachibana is the client, and they've hired these people to go through and do all these hits, now that they know who these people are. And we're going to see the establishment of this actual 7th protocol from Tachibana, which is going to bring a lot of normalcy, but also, like, a lot of the power of the Wired will disappear. And the Wired should only exist as a field that functions as a subsystem reinforcing the real world. It can't exist as its own different, even more powerful plane. Again, I'm going to keep talking about it. I can't see this as anything but a metaphor for the continued, like, capitalization of the internet. It's way less of a Wild West now and way more structured. There's more super corporations involved every single day. It's just part of life. It's reinforcing pre-established conventions and structures rather than challenging them. I don't know if this is intentional, but that's what I'm reading into it anyway. Apparently, according to them, Lain can't be allowed to exist in the Wired as well, but some kind of god or whatever must be protecting her. They can't take Lain out. We're going to take the Masami juice out of the Wired, and we're going to see what's left, and we're going to use that. And the most clear line yet, we have no need for gods where we're going. However, this guy, just before he goes, pulls off the headset, removes the artifice. We still haven't figured out what you are, Lain, but I love you. So again, this is way more of like our god-like worshipping love. So Lain still has supporters, basically, is what we're getting at. You can say the imagery that we've got of Lain kind of trapped in these wires, in these kind of constrictions, is kind of biblical in tone as well. At least that's what I'm getting, kind of martyr-esque, atoning for one's sins. And definitely, like, removing the technology from said face and then portraying love is interesting as well as a technique. So now we push through to the final scene of the episode, kind of bringing the whole thing full circle, where we're back at this very famous road from Lain. Kind of the house down to the school. It's very windy, a lot of turbulence. Things are not the same as they were. There's been a disruption. However, why does this god that is possessing Masami still exist? He needs to still have worshippers, and that worshipper is Lain. It's because of me, God, that you can stay yourself. You were originally born in the Wired, the legend of the Wired, the heroine of the Wired's fairy tales. The real world Lain is just a hologram of her, a homunculus. You never had a body to begin with, a fake family, fake friends. Yes, it was all a lie. Lain continues to deny this, even to the last scene of the episode. Lain starts to cry and we start to get this water filter over the house as well. Pretty great touch there, I thought. Poor Lain, she's all alone, but I'm here. The man who loves you is here. Now, this feels a little bit more bad touch to me, which is definitely in kind of theme with the rest of Lain as a show, I think. Definitely a lot of skeevy dudes in the show. That's kind of a lot of the vibe so far, actually. So of course you should be able to love the man that sent you to this world that you love so much, this fake world. I'm your creator. Lain pushes away and seemingly becomes the angry Lain here a little bit. Like it matters, just like throwing caution to the wind, basically, pardon the pun. Like questioning the validity of anything that's being said and why it's even relevant at all. Breaking down of the structure that we've seen throughout the rest of the show in the power lines as well in the process. And we end on this shot for the end of the episode, again reflecting kind of the power lines looming over everything, but the cracks starting to show. I wonder where we're going from here. God was seemingly not too concerned about this level of defiance, even if it was any defiance at all. So I guess we're going to see in episode 11 right now. All in all, good episode. Thumbs up. Would recommend. Absolutely heartbreaking in moments. Some great revelations and confirmations of things that are going on. I wonder how concrete we're going to get with all of it. We're going to have to see. I don't know. We're going to have to see. Onward and upwards with episode 11, of course. Rightio, got episode 11 of Lain up here ready to go. Let me pop that up on screen there. 23 minutes and 57 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly. And as you know, there's a picture-in-picture version in the description below. Just going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Rightio. 3, 2, 1, go. It's present day, present time. What you doing, Lain? Hello, Lain. Interesting. I'm trying to, with the new revelations about the show, I'm trying to reinterpret the opening a little bit. Not seeing a lot, really. Definitely always still that clear separation of lanes, one that exists here in the real world and one that exists on the screens. But that's something I've always seen. Definitely have, like, yeah, screen Lain there. Knight's creation Lain, almost. And then I guess this exists as, like, the realization that everything that I see right now isn't the real thing. I'm not real. I'm not of that world. Okay. Okay. Almost like construction noise this time. Oh. Ooh. Like that too. Oh. Shikoden. Yeah. Again, subverting. Love it. How are we connecting in? This doesn't seem healthy. Whoa. What did that say? I don't want to be rude. Okay. What is it then? Okay. Still clearly, like, lived in. The food looked a little bit rotten, though. Like, again, losing touch with the physical world completely and totally here. Whoa. The music's sick again. Piercing guitars. What are we doing, Lain? What are we trying to do here? It's a very trippy opening. It's kind of a repeated effect from last episode. What are the people saying? Inconvenient body. Yeah? What else? Am I me? Lain is Lain. Hello, Lain. What's going on in Siberia? Not much. Lots of bad stuff. Dudes killing themselves. Yeah, I remember. Is this our recap episode? That'd be funny. He's shredding, though. Oh. I'm not sure where we're going, but sure. Hey, that's a revelation. What'd you say? The music is... What a choice. What a choice. Ooh. Thought you guys said you didn't really associate from way back in the day. I got something to do. Bye. Well, that's mirroring a shot from early in the show. The static is a choice here too. Yep. What's up? What's up, JJ? Mm-hmm. This freaking guy? I remember that. This feels like some kind of descent. I don't think it has a good connotation. I remember that. That was terrifying as well. Oh, the good times. This freak. I didn't have much to do with the teacher. The good old Psych. Not really. I'm not going to be able to do this justice in the analysis portion, I can tell you already. Because they've clearly thought about this a fair bit in the placement of these scenes. Well, it is reuse, is strategic reuse, and the creative decisions going into it are so impressive. Okay. The 1 a.m. news. Good old Ghost Girl. Never fails to creep me out. Why is there blood coming from the power lines? Think about it. This kiss, it was kind of out of place. Think about it. Lain really is nothing but a peeping Tom. She's very good at seeing stuff. And then spreading said information. Yeah, this is the most imagery driven stream of consciousness stuff we've had so far. I don't even really know how I'm going to talk about it at all. Honestly, it's not over my head, of course. I'm really enjoying it. There's just so much of it as well. Hello, alien. Hello, family. Fake family. Non-conformity. Who is Lain anymore? I'm pretty sure the Lain's the Lain that's been protagonisting everywhere. That's what I'm gonna call Lain. The one that I have the most association with. Thanks, cursed Alice. Another great line. Fantastic. I remember this as well. The mist dimension. That's where we saw the train. Yeah, this is a cursed piece of road for sure. Lots of bad stuff happens on this road. Yeah, that was heartbreaking too. I remember that. Did I mention the guitar work is incredible? Even as a layman. Betrayal. Oh god, that was like a creepypasta. Thanks, Alice. Oh, I don't know why it's making me laugh. For that look of Alice, just like. Okay, the editing's a little bit goofy, but it's fun. Slipping back to your old self. It isn't, though. it was kind of no one's fault, but also simultaneously the other me. Yeah, that Alice face. It's like they really thought I was gonna laugh, huh? Alice, love needs you. Is my video still playing? Okay, good. I was like, did my computer die? All right, so we're seemingly setting up some Alice stuff. Look, it's like Hell Sky too. Well, it's like a clip on her lip. What is Lain looking like? There was some implications at the start of the episode that it didn't look great. Hey, no, it doesn't. You're losing it. She is losing it. Hey, God. Okay. What does this mean? She is becoming omnipotent, kind of. Not really. Still wants that semblance of humanity. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're not hardware, you're software. That'll make her feel better. Yeah, the body is the hardware. Think about it. And the brain is the software. Okay. Bye, Masami God. What, the ambience? It's not going to stop. It hasn't stopped the entire show. What is that amalgamation? What the fuck? Hey, what you doing? Thoughts? Oh, hello. Hello, Chisa. What does Chisa have to say about things? Oh, little smile there. Lane's just hanging out, huh? I don't think she's real. Okay, so that wasn't a lie. That was the one time they walked home together. What was it? Chisa? Oh, shit. Yeah, I remember you. And you were there. And you were there. But Chisa's is such a Wonder Egg priority vibes for me, for sure, if you've seen the show. Yeah, I remember. I like this as a re-establishment of theme, though. It's easy to forget about stuff. Nothing easy about dying. Were you the gamer? I have the gun now. No, he's still the nightclub guy. It's hard to see him because he was in the darkness a lot before. I think he wore a hat too. Girls can pull the triggers on guns. They're strong enough. Maybe not a 14-year-old girl. I haven't shot a gun, by the way, so I wouldn't know. What else? The fuck am I looking at? Powerline World. Okay, building. This is where Alice lives. Rumor. Okay, Alice. Bye. Bye-bye. What's going on, Alice? Talk to me. It's been a while. Not feeling great? I wouldn't either. Yeah, those rumors aren't a lie. They're the truth. Hello. Is that a boy in a red and green sweater? Alien Lain. Again, talking about like the lack of human form. It's an interesting one. It's a great image. That's funny. I turned into a little alien. It was the fake me. It was the other me. But it wasn't the me that exists here right now. Yeah, you're talking mad shit. Oh, what did you mean by that? Okay. Is that what you've been trying to do? With the whole computer debacle? Yeah, I put the Navi in my head. Turned into a little alien. Oh, any place, one word. What do you think about that, Alice? Talk to me. Oh, bye. I'd be scared too. There's a little alien Lain. Yeah, that's heartbreaking as well. What did Alice do wrong? People that did nothing wrong. Alice. What's going on? What's up? Yeah, she's kind of out of it. Okay. Weird. I don't think I could go through with it today. What do you mean? Life? Oh, was that about the boyfriend? So that was fake as well? That's the teacher that I like. Again, he's just, I don't know, I must not be. He's just like a guy. Yeah, that is weird, eh? But wait, hold up, that was you. The rumor is done. Oh, she's broken. This is you, Lain. Like that kind of vibe. Oh god, it's the final boss. Hey, what's up? I have now become everything. Oh, that was great too. Apologies. That's like similar to the look that Alice was giving Lain. Hey. Oh, that smile. Oh god. That's creepy. Lain doesn't smile. Damn it. To be continued. Weird. Very Alice focused episode in the second half. The first half was all very stream of consciousness, just trying to bring together all the ideas of the show. Kind of through a framing device, it seems, of Lain remembering them. That's kind of what I got out of it. She's putting the everything in her head and becoming all powerful, maybe like a god of some kind or something like that. Fixing what she perceives as mistakes, trying to stitch together a real world again. Some semblance of normalcy again, I think. That's what I got out of it. Again, probably the most cerebral of the episodes yet. The most experimental. Surrealist. Any of these other words we want to use. But yeah, very enjoyable. The guitar work through that first portion was fantastic. A lot of it's very scary. A lot of it's very sad. Not quite sure what it's all trying to say again. But it's endlessly interesting. For sure. So much of the production of the show has gone underappreciated by me as well. It's so well put together for the time it came out. It's seemingly a united vision, one that is not compromised, and that actually executes on something that it wants to execute on to a high level, which is not something you see every day, for sure. And yeah, jumping into a little bit of analysis on that episode. So I've just gone and had something to eat, reflected on the episode a little bit. Really great. Really great that we're diving back into Alice a little bit as a character. She's always been kind of that shining beacon of hope, I guess, in the show. The people that did nothing wrong, Alice would definitely be there. I don't know how much I'm going to get out of the first part of this episode. A lot of it is breaking convention, so we see a big change with this opening scene initially, but then a lot of it is stream of consciousness, almost recap episode esque in the content there, edited very trippily. Kind of got these psychedelic guitars going on as well, definitely invoking that kind of vibe, psychedelic for sure. To me, again, I said before, I read it as kind of Lain interpreting everything that has happened so far and coming to some kind of conclusion that she can kind of manifest this power and then go back and change things that she didn't like, change things to be the way that they should be in her own mind. Very well done episode, applaud it. Probably not one I'll go back to all that often. But yeah, definitely got its point across, I think. Going to dive in now and see what I can say. So yeah, as we see here, kind of these shots here of like the coding and the lights and intertwined with these familiar shots from the intro. Something has changed. We've broken the status quo. We've broken the cycle that we've been in, and we're changing things. As we see Lain kind of connecting various chords, wrapping them around herself, putting things on her face. I think the way that the god Masami guy described it as was that she was becoming, like, she put the Navi in her head. She is more machine than person now, right? There's that whole phenomenon that we have to get across. But of course, this is in the pursuit of something resembling her old life. Again, this is mostly talking to our recap episode structure, is that we see the intro to every single episode here, including weird in all the corners too. And in phonography. Is our term there. Obviously, I don't think that's a real word. It's kind of informationography, right? I think that's what we're getting to. A little bit of a portmanteau there, I think. We're getting everything in the head, so much information in the head through putting the Navi in the head, essentially putting the wired in my head. How am I going to cope with this? You could almost interpret the start of the episode and that whole sequence as Lain even interpreting this much information entering her own head. No, it's nothing as ambiguous as memory. I still don't know what this is about. So there's old food decay everywhere, her clothes have been tossed aside, her school bag aside. She has rejected all that stuff and become machine. Rejected the human and become machine in the service of getting her old life back as a human. I know you can't literally go back, but this does seem counterintuitive, of course. Again, I don't really know how to talk about this part, right? This is a repeated shot from the last episode, and a lot of it is repeated shots as Lain kind of wokeifies herself. A true visual representation of what it would be like to have the internet literally in your head, which can't be healthy. I am me, Lain is Lain. We get this shot from before. Go back to Siberia. Again, should I talk about this like this, or should I just pause on some other stuff when I see particularly interesting stuff? Because I could just narrate the entire thing, but I kind of did that in the moment as well. Alright, this part is cool. We get a little bit more gonzo here with the increased, almost jazz beat drums we have going on. And shining fluorescent lights through the whole thing, the pace of the whole entire thing speeds up as well as a result. I've got it on 2x speed, but it is still quite quick. We learn some things about, what's her face? Chisa. Chisa, Lain was there watching this happen, or she is at least living it right in this moment. Thought we were trying to imply some things here, like a closer connection between Lain and Chisa, but that does not seem to be the case. Honestly, I can't help but feel a little bit out of my depth. I know that this shot is definitely reflecting the shot of Lain running away from the friends early in the show. But I'm not sure what it's trying to say. Like this whole sequence, it's filled to the brim with meaning. It's almost overwhelming. I think that's by design as well. Get the static transitions between all these scenes as well, kind of changing channels. Again, like it's so much information entering my own mind as it enters Lain's. Just various images of people being creeps throughout the rest of the show, really. Which, you know, the show isn't short of creeps. The kind of staggering on the camera here, the shadows, the wobbly kind of almost drunkenness to it as we're reliving it. Whatever happened to Mika, I still don't know. Again, I'm really struggling to find things to talk about in the segment. I don't know if you noticed. It's like an art house movie. It's like something you would see at a festival and then go, that was really weird, and then walk away. But some other people would be, you know, give it huge standing ovation or something like that. It's probably the most that way inclined anime I've seen, I think. And yeah, I haven't really delved my toe into that sphere as much, mostly because I find them outside of the context of a channel like this a little bit tedious, especially when I'm doing it in my free time. But yeah, no, this is awesome. This is a really, really great segment. I really enjoy this segment. Like, what are we trying to say here with the slow-mo shots of the mouth, and then we go to this kind of almost CTR look? Like, why? What are they saying? We're blurring out a lot of the voices of, because there was Chisa's voice before, and now there's Mika's voice. Like a TV aesthetic. That's what I'm getting from it. Changing channels. Like there's weird like almost Morse code sounds throughout. Static everywhere. This is a weird shot of just, I'm guessing, like a Japanese city late at night. But why? Why? If you want to consider this a recap episode, it's one of the most impressive I've ever seen. Because it does get across very quickly the ideas of all these episodes that we've seen so far. And does it in an artful way, in a way that makes sense in the context of the story at this moment too. Now the alien's weird, because we see the alien again later, but not as we saw it before. I thought it was more of a symbol of the unknown and conspiracy and cover-ups than anything else, but it is seemingly also an... Okay, so if we take that lens, and then Lain has become part of this as well, part of this revelation, part of this pulling of the veil, right? It demonstrates her transition into omnipotence. I think that's what they're trying to do, right? I am above you. I am the unknown to you. That's why I'm scary. Okay, there's something in that for sure. Kind of picking up the pace of it here, more of a focus on Alice, more of a focus on this evil other Lain that we've seen throughout the show. Again, how much of it was her, how much of it wasn't her, how much of it
Am I the person that exists right now, and how much of it is that person over there? I'm strangling myself. I'm committing suicide. How come they are still warm? Because it's still an aspect of you. But anyway, Alice. They repeat the shot. Gets a little bit goofy. I definitely laughed in the moment. But yeah, I think it works for sure. This is more like... This is... Again, Alice is the moral good, presenting her as something that is literally turning to Lain and saying, hey, this isn't real. You're fucked up. You're not needed here. Her own manifestation of that. And then Lain looking for a way to remove this, whatever this is, from her mind. I think that's cool. These can also be seen as all the bad things in Lain's life, all the terrible things that have happened since she kind of woke up, right? Trying to eliminate all these, again, take it back to episode 1. So we've got so many references to episode 1 throughout this little part. Take it back to when it was good. Bring the good times back, essentially. Demonstrating kind of Lain's trauma in the process, too. All the things that I should be forgetting about. The one that clued me off here was Alice kind of like looking and crying at being betrayed. Like that's something that she deeply didn't want to do. Like these constant reminders of how good Alice is and how not good a lot of the rest of the world is, and the want to preserve relationships with people like this, the want to mend relationships like this. I think that's cool. I really do. I buy this relationship a lot. I really like them as characters. And then Alice, love needs you. We needs you? Weird. Very trippy. I don't quite sure what the text there is trying to say, but very cool regardless. So whilst we had that kind of look into Lain's head as this is going on, this is what's happening externally. Does not look good. This guy, like a goddamn fairy, appears out of nowhere and essentially just gives us some exposition. Because God's been watching this entire time. You're incredible. You loaded an emulator of that Navi into your own brain. She put the computer into the brain. There's already been a lot of stuff about the computer reflecting Lain's body throughout the rest of the show. But yeah, it can't be healthy, but she needs to do so to attain the power that she knows she deep down has to fix things. Again, we still got 2 episodes left, so obviously this doesn't last. The most direct question here, am I a machine? Don't talk about me like I'm a machine. Despite becoming more machine to become more human. So instead, Lain, you're like software, the body's like the hardware. You can exist wherever you want to be in whatever form. That's all well and good. If this is how you choose to make your form, then that's what we're going to do. Send Lain's out for a walk. We get a really trippy look at the kind of power lines doing this. The world's kind of breaking, the world that we know. She's telling the power lines to shut up. We see this amalgamation. It's kind of walk out of nowhere. It kind of reminds me of the ones from like with the ghost girl in episode 2, I think it was. And we see Chisa for the first time in ages. Cool, and Chisa and this guy are both associated because they're people that are implied to have committed suicide because of Lain, or what Lain said, or how Lain influenced them, whichever Lain that may be. And it's not easy to die. This guy thinks it's easy to die, the other Chisa thinks not so easy, right? Kind of maybe regrets the decision. Maybe like angel on one shoulder, devil on the other. You already have a tool that'll let you do it, Lain. Why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? Why are you holding on to this vestige of humanity? Why don't you progress? You have the gun right there. Just do it. It's easy. And Chisa's like, no, don't. Again, I don't know how to make an overall conclusion about it rather than just telling the sequence of events. I guess we'll need to see. Bodies are meaningless. Chisa calls for Lain. And we see this kind of like power line dystopia. And then harsh cut, we're going to have a look at Alice for a while. I don't know what any of that meant, so sure. I'm guessing that Lain chose to side with Chisa's side of the argument, considering that she is trying to maintain her physical form still. So here we see some progress from our last time with Alice. This rumor had spread. She found out how the rumor spread and that kind of thing, and what Lain was doing. And this, again, they're recovering. Whoever this one is, I forget. Juri's going to introduce Alice to a new boy, and those rumors about you and the teacher, they can go away because of that, alright? But it's not a lie, it's the truth. Why would I want to avoid that? But also, it's my personal truth, and I don't want that spread. Cool. Then we see a little alien Lain walk in the room. I've talked about what this symbolism means before, but what does she have to say? Essentially, still trying to turn things back to the way they were, refuse guilt, apologize, all these other things. This scene here characterized by some super close-ups and some crying from Alice later. It wasn't me, it was the other me. Of course, she's not going to believe that, but it is true. I don't believe that this Lain here right now wanted this to happen. I don't know what she meant by you might not be the only Alice too. Is there more copies of people? Or is she just like talking shit? I don't know. I've been working really hard to make sure that what happened didn't happen anymore. And we kind of get a clue into what the start of the episode's all about. She's destroyed the border between the wired and the real world, and she's going to make her own world. If that's not godlike, I don't know what is. I can go any place I want, but I chose to be here reconciling my relationship with you right now. And kind of peering into her room as an idea too, kind of still behind the door, not revealing her true form behind it all. Okay. Interesting one for sure. So all those people in the past also talking about the little boy with the red and green jumper that was in their room. It's kind of what happened to Alice here and now. I'm not sure what to glean from that, but the connection is that it could have been Lain the whole time. Either way, Alice says that she's scared, kind of cries in a very personal, alone, isolating scene. As the way I understand it now, Alice is the only one with any knowledge of how the world has now changed. Again, directly compare the treatment of Lain here in a second to her treatment before she did the whole Navi head thing in episode 10, where she was completely ignored in class, isolated. Again, what she knew as reality was being challenged. Now she's created her own reality, and she's existing within it. Still don't know if that's healthy, but it's a step in the right direction at least. This feels like a conclusion. This feels like you could roll credits here, and it would be like, wow, what a show. I don't feel like there's any real loose ends. Maybe Seventh Protocol, maybe a little bit more stuff with God, maybe an actual conclusion and a comeuppance for Lain for doing something like this, for trying to play God. I don't know. Lots of different ideas. There's a really weird line here where she's like, "Is it your time of the month?" And it's like, whoa, okay. I mean, I'm not a girl, but girls don't talk to other girls like this, I didn't think. But anyway, whatever. Time of the month always something seemed like a annoying excuse that men used for when women weren't acting the way they wanted them to act. Anyway, it isn't very delicate, I will say. I don't think I can go through with it today, jury. Didn't you send me that CU mail yesterday? No, that reality we saw yesterday is no longer the truth. We've changed the truth. Lain has changed the truth. Rumor has it that teacher over there is seeing an 8th grader, so we've changed that. The 8th grader is no longer you, Alice, right? It's someone else. Alice, you can exist now without that rumor ruining your life, basically. And they don't believe Alice when she tries to confess that 8th grader is actually her. Like, no, don't be preposterous. He's already taken anyway. You couldn't have him, right? Oh, a very, very, very weird scene. Alice still obviously scared, knees kind of clacking together, visibly shaking and trembling, as Lain approaches. Hey, you're the one that changed things. You're the one that made reality not what it is anymore, and Alice knows. If that's not unsettling, I don't know what is. And this look here, for me, it reflects the look that Alice was giving Lain in her little visions as well. Kind of this reflection of herself back onto herself. I think that's very multi-layered. That's very interesting. Okay. Genuine. This is fascinating. I wonder where we're going to go. I really do. And that's a great cut there too. I'll keep that in. Just kind of the isolation there, the only two that know the truth, and then background comes back in, and the reality that I made set in stone persists and continues. And Lane's like, come on, play your part. That's what I'm reading this as anyway. And the most inhuman of smiles to finish it off. Are you really human? Have you become machine? Don't know. But this isn't you. Lain smiled. To be continued. To be continued indeed. Is the implication there because Lain doesn't normally smile? Maybe. I don't know. Lane's a bit of a weird one. There's so many lanes at this point, it's hard to keep track. But yeah, we've seemingly made Lain the most powerful character in it other than like a god, and the only person giving the god power is Lain because Lain believes in him still. What is Tachibana doing? Seventh Protocol. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. Is Lain going to challenge that eventually? That's probably been set up with that encounter in episode 7? Episode 7. And yeah, probably structurally another really strange episode. Probably up there with episode 9 for just being like absolutely gonzo in the first half. Loved it. Still thought it was extremely well done and kind of contributed to the overall quality episode in a nice way. I thought it complemented the second half. An episode of two halves and clearly delineated as such. The music was a standout. These two episodes, really love it. I should look into this guy's music a little bit more. It's seemingly up my alley. Looking forward to 2 episodes in 2 weeks' time, as next week I will be on holiday and unable to record. So we'll see what happens in 2 weeks' time for the conclusion of Lain, where I'll do 12 and 13. But just my show stuff as I say goodbye for today. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back. And the Discord. Join the Discord. Love the Discord. Suggest new shows on the Discord. Talk about Lain on the Discord. Maybe my analysis was completely wrong and you want to correct me on the Discord. Right here. Thank you very much for watching this week, and I'll catch you in 2 weeks' time for a little bit more Lain to finish this off. Right here. Thank you very much.